It is a great honor to introduce our next speaker, the man who, upon meeting me for the first time, threatened to tickle my tummy with a taste of nuts and honey, Mr. Andrew Hyde.
Oh, I'm behind already. Okay, I'm going to start and end with a quote from Edward Abbey. I am not an atheist, I'm an earthist. You got to believe in the earth. I obsess over trail. Some of you have your own hobbies. I look at trail as sexy. And trail is a thoroughfare used for travel. That's a simple definition of it. Here we've got Mount Democrat, 2 trails going down. Trails are awesome. Trails put up with wind, snow, ice, hail, everything. And making them, you do it, with power tools, or what I like to do it in my style is hand tools. So this is Deer Creek Canyon in the Grand Canyon. Has anybody been here? One of the most beautiful trails I've ever seen, because that is a slot canyon that leads to a waterfall that lands in the Grand Canyon. So you slip on the trail and you die. Okay? Which brings me to my next point. When you're building a trail, you're maximizing all the human impact on one area. So over the next 100 years, every single human is going to be placed on one area. So you need to go through that one area and kill everything. Then you're going to build a trail. And if there's a cross-section of a trail, it'll look like this. There's the uphill, there's the downhill, and there's a nice 3% grade. And that means when the monsoon comes and all that water's ripping down, it'll go down, not on the trail. If you notice a trail that has like a rut down it, that's a poorly built trail. Another thing about poorly built trails, and this is the most common mistake when building a trail, this is a Chautauqua trail right here. You want it at an 8% grade. So this is an exact 8% mark. Every 100 feet it goes up 8%. That's actually the easiest on your knees and common with the American mule deer. You can go really aggro on building your trails. You can go just these steps and steps and steps, and it takes all this labor. But if you notice really closely on this, there's a trail to the other side of it. So as good as your intentions and as many thousands of volunteer dollars it took to make that trail, people are going to do their own thing. And so when you're designing trails, you're looking at places to go, viewpoints to be, and you see here, 2 beautifully converge. And then this next slide is my favorite spot in Boulder. And this brings up a problem to me. This is my favorite spot. I know where it is, and you all don't. But it's beautiful. And I'd love to share it with you. But that brings up a moral dilemma in our national parks and in our wilderness areas where trails are. Do I tell you about it and let you take the trail there? Do I build a trail there? Or do we have no trails at all? So, in other words, do we want to see the national parks trafficked with everybody on the trails going up to Long's Peak? Or do we want to see no trail and you get your little hipster self up there? So ask yourself that as I shift this talk. We're not going to talk about trail at all. I tricked you. I'm feeling pretty smug right now because we're going to talk about control. We're going to talk about community. We're going to talk about this room, these people, this weird thing we call Ignite that brings us together to get drunk and talk about geeky things. So we get together and we have all these great experiences and we meet these people and we start dating or we start, really good friendships. Some of my best friends are in that picture. And what's next? What brought us to that point, and how can we relate that to this trail analogy? So this is a letterpress. This is Berg Dog Press up in Lyons. And a letterpress is awesome because you've got ink, you've got steel that's melded into an exact replica, and you've got paper, and you just mash them together, and you get this final product that's very precise and very planned. But what happens when we think about that with community? What happens is a picture of the second Ignite when there was 100 people in it, and we snuck kegs into a CU classroom. Very excited I didn't get arrested for that move. But what happens when the community becomes so big that we start complaining about the community? What happens when that trail that we built to go to that beautiful viewpoint is suddenly less beautiful because it's so big? Can we stop seeing the beauty in that? Can we stop seeing the truth, borrowing from the TEDx? Something that bothers me about the community is people say, oh, what's going to happen when you're gone? You're the leader. I'm not the leader at all. I'm the most visible person. The top isn't the destination of a trail. The top is part of the trail. A community is not a community with a top, middle, and bottom. A community is a story, and you play that story. And the path is weird, and it's craggly, and it's dark, and it doesn't go to a place that we know. But the beautiful part about it is we all control it. And we're in a scenario, we might not be the only one in the room enjoying this. We might creep some people out by being in that room. This is Mark Cuban. He was very excited to meet me. So I'm gonna end with a challenge to the community to bring forth smaller events, bring forth bigger events like this. And I'm going to end with an Etta Bradley quote. May your trails be crooked, winding, lonesome, dangerous, and leading to the most amazing view. Thank you so much, Boulder.